Welcome back, everybody. Well, have you ever heard somebody say, don't move into a house until you've got everything complete? I think that's one of those do as I say, not as I do statements. But there's plenty left to do here, and today we're working on the kitchen island. Now, we've been living in the house about 3 months now, and I've not finished the backside of my island, but I had a little trouble out of our ice maker, so I've intentionally left the back of it off just in case we need to access anything. But we've got that up and going, everything's resolved, so we're good to go. So now it's time to finish the back. And when I was laying all my conduit and plumbing out in the slab before, anything was ever done, I designed it to where all of my plumbing would come up behind the cabinets. I didn't want the drain to be inside the cabinet, and I didn't want all these water lines coming up having to terminate inside my cabinet. So I laid it out to where it would be just behind my cabinets, and then I knew I was going to build a wall and put a bigger bar top on it. So that gave me room to go in behind everything and sort it back here versus having it in the cabinet. And one thing nice about that is your cabinet space is not encumbered with all those pipes and drains and everything sticking up. So you got plenty of room in there to work. And with a pull-out drawer, it actually makes that a useful cabinet rather than just a place where stuff goes to die. And I also run 3 electrical circuits out here. That had to be underground cable since it was going in conduit under the ground. So I've got a circuit for the dishwasher, one for the ice maker, and then I've got an outlet on each end of the island. That way, if you need to plug something up, you got power. P10. All right, we're off to the races. Now to cut a rabbit on the back side of this one so it'll overlap my cabinet. And then the other side of my receptacle, which she should fit, and then we'll be off to the races. I don't know if this stuff will hold magnets or not, but we're gonna find out. Well, my magnets weren't holding the way I wanted them to, and versus going and buying new magnets, I want to get this done. So I've got one small hole down here and one small hole up there. I just run a screw in it. Once you get bar stools here, it'll blend in, you'll never know it's there. But on the groove side here, I cut the back side of the groove off so it will lock over my tongue on my door. So if I ever need to take that panel out, I can unscrew those 2 screws. It'll slide right out of there and I can get in there and access the back side of everything. Let's hope we don't have to take it off anytime soon. I'm gonna nail the rest of them. We'll work around that corner or to have it complete, outside of a few touch-ups here and there. Well, things don't always go as planned. My first corner here, I was able to miter that corner, and that way I didn't have to have any trim on the corners, and that's the look I was wanting. But my last piece came out almost flush with the end, so I don't have enough material here to miter that. So I went ahead and cut this piece, and I just mitered it so I've got some support out here, but I will go ahead and finish these two pieces, and then I'll make some trim to cover the corners, cover that little gap that I didn't want. Hey, sometimes you gotta improvise. Well, I'm glad to have another item marked off the to-do list, which I've got plenty more to go. But I think that looks a little bit better than looking at that plumbing and that framing. And I'm real pleased with that additional space in behind the cabinets. It allowed me to just clean up underneath the kitchen sink and makes that a lot more usable space. My magnet door keeps on my access panel, that didn't work. It wasn't holding the way I wanted it to, so I ended up just putting a screw at the bottom, one at the top. Where I countersink for my screw, I actually painted the inside of that countersink, so that black screw's in there. You can't even tell where it's at, so it hides itself. So all I gotta do is pull two screws out, that door will swing out, and I can access everything in behind it. Well, I'll tell you, when it comes to finishing the house, you think you're about done, and then all you gotta do is just turn your head a little bit, and you'll see something else that needs to be done. But I've gotta finish the trim out here on the end wall of my cabinet. I got to put my crown molding up. I've got to put my toe kicks down at the bottom. And then you just turn around 180 and you got to build a dining room table. You got to put shelves up next to the fireplace, build those. And I could probably find something else in here pretty easy. Didn't take me long. I've got to build a serving bar here. I've got to build end tables for the couch. I'm gonna quit looking. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into building a house, and you know, the framing, you think, golly bum, we're gonna have this thing done here before you know it. And then you get into that finishing stuff, and that's when it gets fun. And there's a lot of decisions to make, a lot of choices, and so I'm gonna give my wife credit for a choice she made. Now, I'm a pretty simple person, and so when it comes to talking about faucets and lights and all this stuff, I mean, you could put a hose bib in here and it'd be good for me. But Kristen had ordered just a standard kitchen faucet with one of these, you know, sprayer knobs. And she said, I'd like to have one of those hands-free water faucets or kitchen faucets. And I said, well, you don't need one of those. And so she listened to me and went ahead and ordered it. But let me show you what it does. Now, if you're anything like me, you'd say, well, that's crazy. Just turn the knob there and turn the water on. But I'll tell you, after you use that for a few times, you forget how to turn that knob on. So I will have to give my wife credit. That's a handy faucet and a handy feature. Now, she's not told me what she paid for it, so that might change my mind after I heard the price. But I'm not changing it, so we're gonna leave it. But it's pretty cool. Well, this video will post Christmas morning, so I hope everybody has a good Christmas, and we'll catch you on the next one.